In order to optimize the camera for a portrait, it's pretty simple. Usually I actually don't change the mode to anything. I like to keep it on manual, so usually I just take a portrait like I would any other picture and not change anything. Of course, I will set my white balance and my ISO and my flash accordingly. Usually I use a flash. The ISO, depending if I'm outdoors, I'll set that to 80 if there's enough light. If it's indoors, it may need to be increased. And my white balance also set accordingly. Daylight, cloudy, outdoor situation, tungsten or fluorescent indoor. What you can do is press the function button. Instead of using the manual mode, go ahead and use the portrait mode. It'll optimize the camera. Press the right navigation button a couple times until you get the portrait, and it will optimize the camera to blur the background, to use a very wide aperture in order to get that background as blurry as possible. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. The disadvantages are the fact that you don't have control over your white balance and you don't have control over ISO. And for this reason, I usually don't use this, but again, it's completely okay to use it if you want. Go ahead and press the left navigation button to move back to manual. And I'll show you what I do. Set the manual. This is what I normally use, so again, I don't need to change it, so it's really not a big deal. I do want to go down to change my white balance, daylight if I'm outdoors, and go ahead and press function or set to escape that menu. Now my ISO is currently set to 400. If I were taking a picture indoors, this would be great. I'd use the flash, and 400 would still increase the amount of ambient light around the subject. So in this case, we are outdoors, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. Press ISO, and I'll go down to 80, and press the set button, or just give it a second to go away by itself. Now my flash is turned on. You don't have to use the flash. I like to use the flash because it does kind of bring out the person a little bit more, puts a little glow in their face, so that's a good idea. But if the person is too close, when I'm taking the portrait, then the flash may be overpowering, in which case there's no way of really reducing the power of the flash, but you can do this, is just put your index finger, I'll cover up maybe half the flash, and that should reduce the brightness of the flash, again, if the person is sitting or standing closer to me, in order for the flash not to overpower the subject. I'll do this and then take the picture just like I would any other. Press the shutter button halfway, very important. Again, focus, put your focusing square on the subject's eyes, that's what you want to focus on. Press the shutter button halfway and wait for the focusing square to turn green, telling me that it is in focus. With the button pressed halfway, reposition the camera. I want to recompose the image the way I want it. Again, if the subject is close, I'll cover up half the flash and then just gently press the shutter button the rest of the way. To find out much more about digital photography and your digital camera, go to lbguides.com.